Her hidden war scars revealed an incredible story of strength that changed everything forever. Grace's heart thundered in her chest as she stepped off the bus, the familiar yet foreign landscape of Maple Grove stretching before her. It had been years since she'd left for a fight that no one could comprehend, her soul scarred beneath layers of fabric. The summer air hung heavy with expectation and whispers, but as she clutched Lily's and Noah's small hands, she felt a flicker of hope. Returning was supposed to mean safety, yet doubt lurked in every corner of this small Midwestern town, fueled by the gossips of neighbors who knew nothing of her battles. She wore her uniform like armor, confidence shining through the wrinkles of her ever-present smile. But the combat wounds, the ones that no one could see, throbbed beneath her skin. Every sidelong glance, every hushed conversation echoed in her mind, the words "what happened to her" reverberating unkindly. Once she had been one of them, a part of the community, a beloved resident. But life had changed. Deployment had come, and with it, a distance too great. At the local park, the laughter of other children danced in the evening breeze. Lily twirled around with a joy that was intoxicating, while Noah threw a ball with abandon, their smiles bright under the orange glow of the setting sun. Grace watched, her own heart swelling with love, mixed with an ache of inadequacy. She wanted so desperately to give them a life that felt normal, like the other children in the park. But how could she do that when shadows from her past crept closer every day? "Mommy, look!" Lily shouted, pointing to a butterfly flitting from flower to flower. Grace smiled, but that heavy feeling in her chest returned. She wrestled with the fear that she might not be enough, a fear that her kids might someday see the cracks in her facade. Each day was a reminder of her own hidden battles she fought against the backdrop of their innocent joy. Things began to change with the neighborhood improvement contest announcement. A cash prize dangled like a sweet promise before her. Grace's tears turned into hard determination. What if she could revitalize the town? Transform the judgmental whispers into words of support? She envisioned a community garden, a place for neighbors to come together, share stories, and heal. For the first time in what felt like forever, she allowed herself a dream. But even this sparked the discontent of others. "Are you sure this is wise?" Mark, her brother, warned softly over a cup of coffee. He had always been there with her, his protective instincts flaring when he sensed her ambition stretching beyond safety. "You have to think about the kids." Despite his love, his words weighed heavy on her spirit. Still, she persevered, pouring her heart into plans that meant rebuilding connection among the disjointed. Rumors began to circulate, swirling around like autumn leaves in a reckless wind. When anonymous accusations about her time in service surfaced, it sliced through her like a knife. Friends became shadows, their faces stern, their eyes filled with doubt. She struggled for breath, emotions crashing against her like waves, threatening to drown her in despair. With each sting from the whispers, a piece of her resolve faltered. But as darkness loomed, Grace stumbled upon an unexpected light: storytelling. The ability to weave a narrative stirred something deep within her. She realized there was power in sharing her truth, the kind that could connect her to others, bringing them together in shared pain and triumph. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The contest date approached, and with it, a choice louder than the town's whispers. Would she let the world see her as a victim, or would she rise armed with the stories of resilience that had shaped her? Each heart she touched, each laughter that returned, made her question her worth and ignited the fire inside her. Could she turn the tide of judgment, showing Maple Grove that grace doesn't just come from a name but from battles fought and won? The stage was set, and just like the fluttering butterfly, she felt the wings of courage start to unfurl. The morning of the contest dawned bright and warm, the sun spilling light across Maple Grove like a promise. Grace woke early, her heart racing with anticipation. Today was the day she'd reveal her garden project, her hope laid bare for all to see. The weight of doubt still tugged at her. Would they understand? Would they even care? Breathing deeply, she steadied herself. This was more than just a project, it was a piece of her soul. After a quick breakfast, she wrapped her children in love. Lily bounced around in her bright yellow dress, a little ball of sunshine, while Noah, focused and determined, helped his mother tie the final knots in the garden's decorations. "Let us fill the world with color, Mom," he chirped, his enthusiasm infectious. As they approached the park, Grace felt that familiar knot in her stomach. The place was bustling, people gathered, chatting, laughter lingering in the air. Her hands trembled slightly as she set up tables manned with pots of flowers, herbs, and the seeds of hope they had planted together. She glanced over her shoulder, searching the crowd. Eyes she recognized and some she didn't were critiquing, whispering, judging. Old friends and new faces mingled like ghosts from her past. "Look, Mommy! They're all here!" yelled Lily, pointing excitedly. "Yes, they are," Grace managed, her smile faltering for a moment. Would they support her? Could they understand the weight of the story she carried? As the contest began, Grace took a moment to breathe. One by one, participants presented their ideas. She listened, her heart swelling with admiration for the creativity and effort surrounding her. But as each one finished, doubt crept in. Would her vision stand up against theirs? When it was finally her turn, she took a deep, steadying breath. Stepping up to the microphone, she felt the warmth of the sun on her face. The crowd hushed, and all eyes turned to her. "Thank you for being here," she began, her voice more steady than she felt. "This garden isn't just a project. It represents healing, connection, and the beauty of resilience." As she spoke, she shared her mission, her struggles, the fight she had faced within herself. Each seed planted here is a reminder that we can grow together even after the storms. "I believe if we share our stories, we can find strength, not just for ourselves, but for our community, our children." Tension hung in the air. She could sense the disbelief mixed with curiosity. Hesitant nods emerged from familiar faces, but she pressed on, pouring her heart into every word. "I may wear scars you can't see. I want to turn these whispers of judgment into songs of support." When she finished, silence lingered. The crowd exchanged glances, uncertainty filling the space. Then, like a wave crashing on the shore, applause erupted. It warmed her spirit. Real, heartfelt applause. As Grace stood there, tears pooled in her eyes. Her words had taken flight. Maybe they really had understood. The contest wrapped up, but excitement buzzed around her project. People lingered, drawn to the garden, curious about how they could contribute. Discussion sparked, and hands began to raise with offers to help. Grace's heart soared. Amid the chaos, Mark found her, his eyes bright with pride. "You were incredible," he said, pulling her into a hug. "I always knew you had it in you." But in the back of her mind, a nagging thought simmered. What if the whispers returned? What if this victory came at a cost she couldn't foresee? And as she glanced around, she caught sight of someone in the crowd questioning, ready to unleash doubt once again. Emboldened yet fearful, she took a step forward into the unknown, her heart racing. The battle was far from over. Would the power of her truth be enough to overcome the shadows threatening to loom? The crowd remained restless, the applause echoing in her ears like a soft reminder of her own pulse. Grace stood tall, though her stomach twisted with anxiety. She caught snippets of conversation swirling around her garden display. Words like brave, inspiring, and community danced through the air, filling her with warmth, yet shredding at the edges of her confidence. Mark leaned closer, still grinning. "People are talking about getting involved, Grace. They love what you've shared." She nodded, trying to smile while the weight of doubt crept back. "It just feels too good to be true. Like it can vanish just as quickly." "You deserve this," he insisted, squeezing her hand. "You've worked so hard. The kids helped you create something special. Just let it be." With a deep breath, Grace turned to see Lily and Noah exploring the garden, their laughter ringing out like a bell. Noah carefully watered a newly planted flower while Lily chatted with an older neighbor. Watching them filled her with a swelling sense of pride. This was what she wanted: community, connection, healing. But beneath, a chill whispered ominous thoughts of retaliation from those who had been skeptical. Just as she began to immerse herself in the joy of the moment, a sharp voice cut through the chatter. "Isn't it funny how one speech can turn you from a nobody into a celebrity?" Grace's heart sank. The words belonged to Bella, a woman from her past, whose critical eye had never missed an opportunity to judge. Bella pushed through the crowd, a smirk on her face, arms crossed defiantly. "If you think you can just talk your way into everyone's good graces, you're mistaken," she added, unfazed by the small gathering of supporters around Grace. For a heartbeat, Grace felt the ground slip beneath her. "I'm not trying to be a celebrity," she managed, words sticking like hot glue in her throat. "I'm just trying to help." "Help?" Bella laughed, a harsh sound that sliced through the applause. "You think displaying your garden will erase your past? All those years of hiding?" Grace swallowed hard, the weight of those memories crashing down on her. She had fought against the whispers for so long. Now, standing in the very place she wished to claim as her own, she felt vulnerable. Yet something sparked inside her. The applause still echoed in her mind, buoying her spirit. "It's just a starting point, Bella. I'm not ashamed of my past. I'm learning to grow from it." The crowd shifted, tension rising. Familiar faces turned to Bella, their expressions filled with curiosity, and for a moment the whispers were muted. "Well, don't think I'll be here for your little art fair," she shot back, taking a few steps back, arms still crossed tight. "Just wait. You'll see." But before she could retreat completely, a small voice piped up, "Why not, Bella? We all want to grow together." Lily stood there, eyes wide with innocence, her tiny hands gripping the edge of a table with flowers. Grace felt pride and dread wash over her simultaneously. Bella huffed, but the crowd's murmurs had shifted, now more supportive than before. Bella's previous confidence faltered, and she turned away, her presence dissipating like a shadow. Grace felt the urge to collapse into a chair, but she held her ground. The energy in the park shifted, and flowers swayed, bending toward the light of newfound understanding. In the following minutes, conversations bloomed, fueled by Lily's enthusiasm and Noah's careful organization. Grace felt herself breathing easier, surrounded by support. As the day wore on, Grace exchanged ideas with neighbors eager to join her mission. She shared plans, not just for the garden, but for events that would knit the community closer. For the first time in a long time, she felt the walls of doubt beginning to crumble. But that nagging feeling still pulled at her, a reminder that Bella's words lingered, like a shadow waiting to strike at the heart of her dreams. As she glanced at her children, sunlight catching in their hair, the doubt morphed into determination. "Let us make our garden a place where everyone belongs," she declared. The crowd cheered, a chorus of voices lifting her spirit even higher. But in her chest, the whisper remained, how long before the next attack came? As nightfall approached, she embraced her children tight. The road ahead felt more hopeful, but the battle for acceptance had just begun. Would her courage hold as she stepped into this new chapter of her life? The festival waned as twilight cast a golden sheen over the world around them. Grace lingered near a vibrant patch of flowers, the colors glowing in the dusk. The air carried laughter, warmth, and the scent of fresh earth, yet a cold weight pressed on her heart, an odd duality that pulled her tightly. She watched the last of the sunlight wrap around Lily and Noah, their joy illuminating the gathering like fireflies dancing in the dark. Mark leaned against a wooden fence post, his eyes scanning the crowd, a soft smile playing on his lips. "I think you're winning them over, Grace. Look at all those faces," he said, nodding toward a cluster of neighbors deep in conversation about her garden. They were animated, buzzing with ideas about summer events and how they could improve their neighborhood. "It's beautiful." "Is it?" she replied, glancing at him sideways. "I feel like it's just a mask. What if they turn like Bella did? Hey, you're not alone anymore. You have this community now." Mark reached for her hand again, his grip steady and reassuring. "Trust it. She leaned into him momentarily, but doubt clawed at her insides. What if this moment of triumph was just a prelude to a deeper fall? As if her fears had summoned them, familiar faces from her past skulked at the edges, their whispers almost tangible. She donned a brave face and absorbed the support in the air, but darkness often creeps in when the light shines brightest. Just then, a gust of wind blew through the garden, rustling the flowers and causing Lily and Noah to squeal in delighted surprise. Grace watched them play, their laughter infectious, and for a brief moment, the worries felt distant. She squeezed Mark's hand tightly, but the sense of relief was fleeting as she caught sight of Bella again, lurking near the edge of the park, arms crossed tight, her eyes narrowed. "Look," Grace whispered under her breath, "there she is, sticking around to watch." Mark's expression hardened. "Let her. This is your space now, Grace. Hold on to that." Taking a deep breath, Grace gathered her courage. "You're right," she said, drawing strength from the warmth of her children's laughter. She turned toward Lily, who pulled a flower from the display and presented it as if it were the most valuable treasure. "For you, Mommy," she said, eyes wide and glimmering. At that moment, Grace's heart swelled, eclipsing her fears. She knelt, accepting the flower, a vibrant symbol of love and growth. "Thank you, Lily," she replied, her voice thick with emotion. "You remind me of why we're here." Just then, a group of neighbors approached, their expressions earnest as they extended their gratitude. Words of appreciation flowed, tales of how the garden inspired them to face their struggles and plant seeds of hope in their lives. Grace smiled, her resolve bolstered by their kindness and shared visions for a better community. "I'd love to hear more of your ideas," Grace said, her voice gaining momentum. "Together we can create something magical." As conversation deepened, Grace felt her pulse quicken with excitement. It was so much more than just a garden, it was a beacon for change, healing, and unity. She shared her vision of community events, of every neighbor finding a place to contribute. The night buzzed with possibility, the air dense with promise. But the flicker of doubt had not entirely dared to retreat. She could still feel Bella's gaze burrowing through the crowd, heavy with disapproval. Suddenly, a harsh reminder of the fragility of acceptance swept over her. Outside their shared warmth, Bella's cynicism loomed like a storm cloud, threatening to pour doubt over their budding dreams. "Sometimes the toughest battles," Mark offered quietly, "are the ones we fight within ourselves." His words resonated deeply. Grace stood taller, realizing that this moment, this very garden, was just a battlefield where she would fight for herself and her family's legacy. The children were the future. Could her courage shine bright enough to hold the shadows at bay? "Let us make tomorrow even better," she declared to the crowd, "and let us do it together." Their voices lifted in a chorus of agreement, but in the back of her mind, Bella's scorn still echoed, an unsettling reminder of her past mistakes. Could she truly steer this ship against the tide of criticism? As they began to share laughter beneath the stars, she wondered silently if they were ready for what tomorrow might bring. Would she be able to shield her children from the storm that seemed to follow her? Tomorrow would bring not just hope, but also more challenges. Would Grace be strong enough to face whatever lay ahead? The morning sun broke over the horizon, spilling soft, golden light onto the dew-kissed garden. The flowers, vibrant and alive, glimmered as if they were celebrating a new day. Grace stood at the window with a warm mug of coffee cradled in her hands, taking in the beauty of it all. Her heart was still a tangle of anticipation and anxiety, the festival's triumph tempered by the specter of doubt looming in her mind, especially Bella.as the children scampered down the hall, their laughter echoed like a sweet melody. It held the promise of an adventure, a counterpoint to her inner struggles. "We're going to make today amazing!" Noah shouted, running into the kitchen, with Lily hopping excitedly behind him. "Okay, let us make breakfast first," Grace replied, feeling the corners of her mouth turn up. This was the start of something special, and she wouldn't let anything overshadow it. After pancakes and playful banter, they set to work in the garden. Grace had invited the neighbors to help out, building a sense of community, as they transformed her vision into reality. A gentle breeze rustled the trees, carrying with it whispers of optimism. Mark arrived, bearing tools and a talent for turning ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. "You're all set for more magic today?" he asked, his eyes gleaming. "Absolutely." Grace beamed, her heart buoyant from the support around her. "I've got all these ideas brewing." As they set to work, laughter filled the air. Neighbors chipped in, planting seeds, painting signs, and chatting animatedly. But just as the sun climbed higher, casting its warmth everywhere, that familiar chill danced on Grace's spine. Bella had arrived, standing at the edge of the garden, arms crossed, her gaze sharp. Grace felt her heart race, pulse pounding in her ears. She turned to Mark, who noticed her tension. "Ignore her, Grace. Focus on what we're building here." Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to remain centered. "You're right. I need to channel this energy into something positive." "Let us turn up the music then," Mark suggested, and soon enough, the sound of upbeat tunes filled the garden. The ambience shifted immediate, drawing everyone into a rhythm, shaking off the remnants of doubt. Lily and Noah began to dance, their joy infectious. Grace joined in, swaying to the beat, feeling lighter and freer with every sway. In this moment, she felt whole. Perhaps Bella's shadow didn't hold the power she thought it did. With the sun shining down, surrounded by laughter, she had built a sanctuary, a home, a community that mattered. Midway through the planting, a neighbor named Sarah approached, her face sincere, almost solemn. "Grace, I need to speak to you," she said, her voice gentle yet firm. "I've been meaning to tell you, your garden has been a beacon for many of us, including me. I've struggled alone for so long, afraid of what others might think. This community, your kindness, they've inspired me." Grace swallowed hard, her throat tight with emotion. "Thank you, Sarah. That means so much. It's brave of you to stand up and to keep pushing through. Don't let anyone dim your light." The weight of those words settled in the air between them, warm and heavy. As Grace nodded, looking around at everyone working together with joy, she felt a swell of gratitude. The warmth of her community slowly soothed her lingering fears. Yet, all the while, Bella remained a thorn in her side, a reminder that some shadows refused to fade. Just then, a sudden gust of wind picked up, sending petals swirling into the air like confetti around them. Laughter erupted, and for a moment, even Bella seemed taken aback. Was she witnessing something beautiful? Was there a chance she could let go of her anger, too? The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity and celebration, but Grace couldn't shake the feeling that something was just around the corner. As night began to fall and people started to gather for a bonfire, she felt a quiet tug at her heart. Would Bella confront her again? Would that danger turn from shadow to reality? Maybe the real challenge wasn't just overcoming her past but facing the fears that could rise anew tomorrow. And as every flickering light in the garden whispered promises of hope, Grace wondered, could she truly find the strength to stand tall when the storms of her past and present collided? The evening wrapped around the garden like a warm blanket as the glowing bonfire flickered, illuminating the faces of friends and neighbors gathered in circles. Laughter danced with the crackling flames while the delicious smell of roasted marshmallows filled the air. Grace felt a swell of pride surge within her. This was her vision coming to life. Yet, just as the warmth from the fire enveloped her, an icy tendril of uncertainty brushed against her skin. Noah and Lily sat close to the fire, eyes wide with delight as they watched the flames leap into the night sky. Grace leaned in, whispering to them about the constellations above, her voice barely rising above the joyful chatter surrounding them. For a moment, she lost herself in their laughter, but in the back of her mind, Bella remained a lurking shadow. As she looked across the gathering, her heart began to race again. Bella was conspicuously absent. Had she retreated to sulk? Or was she strategizing some pointed remark to undermine all that Grace had worked for? That intrusive voice of doubt tried to creep in, but Grace fought it back, squeezing Lily's hand, letting the child's innocence steady her nerves. "Hey, want to help me with a more?" she asked, breaking into their innocent revelry. "Yes." The children shouted in unison, giggling uncontrollably. Amid the joyous chaos, Grace suddenly spotted Bella at the edge of the garden, lingering just outside the welcoming light of the bonfire. She stood there, arms crossed, looking out of place among the joy, like a cloud darkening the sunlight. Grace's heart sank. Did Bella truly enjoy being the villain, or was she just in as much pain as Grace was? Taking a deep breath, Grace made a decision. She wasn't going to hide from Bella anymore. She had built a community here, a sanctuary that deserved to be protected. With determination mixing with her fear, she stepped away from the children, braving the warmth of the bonfire to enter the twilight that felt, suddenly, much colder. "Bella!" Grace called out, her voice strong but the tremor of her heart betrayed her. The woman slowly turned, surprise flickering in her eyes. "What do you want, Grace?" Bella's voice was flat, a far cry from the warmth surrounding them. "I wanted to see if you'd join us. We're all having a great time." Grace tried to inject confidence into her words, but the tension between them felt electric, prickling the hairs on the back of her neck. "Why would I want to join a bunch of people who don't understand?" Bella's declaration hung heavy in the air. Grace's pulse quickened. She couldn't let Bella's bitterness drag her down. "You'd be surprised how much they want to understand. People can change. You can, too." A storm of emotions flashed across Bella's face: confusion, frustration, maybe even something deeper. "You think just because you decided to play the hero, everything will change? You don't know the first thing about me. I know you're hurting, and I know that can sometimes make us lash out." The words came out before her mind could stop them. Bella's expression softened for just a moment, and Grace felt a glimmer of hope. "So what, you think you can save me?" Bella challenged, arms tightening around herself. "No," Grace replied softly, edging closer. "But I'd like to help if you'll let me. We don't have to fight." She gestured back toward the warmth of the bonfire, where laughter and connection thrived. "I don't fit in there," Bella muttered, her voice barely a whisper now. Something vulnerable flickered in her eyes. "Maybe not yet," Grace said. "But it's never too late to change your story." The air thickened with emotion, silence enveloping them like a shroud. Grace's heart raced, waiting for Bella's response while her own vulnerability threatened to consume her. But then, from behind them, Noah's laughter broke through, sending their shoulders jerking up as they turned simultaneously to see the children chasing fireflies. The carefree joy spilled into the air and, just like that, Grace felt the weight of the moment slip just a little. Glancing back at Bella, she whispered, "Urgently, we have a whole community that's ready to embrace you. Together, we can create something beautiful." The fire crackled, the world around them faded, and there was a moment of stillness. Would Bella take that step? Would she allow herself the chance at something different, something hopeful? As Grace awaited an answer, the night wrapped around them like a fragile thread, teetering on the edge of possibility. Could this be the moment that altered everything? In that charged silence, the flicker of firelight cast playful shadows on Bella's face. Grace held her breath, the slightest flutter of hope igniting in her chest. This was unfamiliar territory, a bridge she had never thought they would stand on together, and then, just as quickly, the moment slipped away. Bella turned her gaze downward, her features hardening once more. "You don't know what I've been through, Grace. You think it's so simple," she said, bitterness creeping back into her voice. "It's not simple," Grace replied, fighting the urge to retreat into the warmth of the bonfire. "But I know we've all got our stories, our struggles. You're not alone in this." Noah and Lily's laughter echoed again, chasing each other like shadows through the tall grass. The sound sliced through the tension, bright and innocent. Grace risked a glance over her shoulder. They were so unaware of the storm brewing in the shadows, a reminder of everything good that was at stake. "Do you even believe that?" Bella shot back, her eyes flashing. "Your community is perfect, but it won't fix anything for me." Grace stepped closer, her heart pounding against her ribcage. "What if I told you that it doesn't have to be perfect? We're all just trying to figure things out together. Even you." A flicker of vulnerability crossed Bella's face again, but it was quickly replaced by stubbornness. "I'm not you, Grace. I don't belong in your sunshine and smiles." "I used to think that way too," Grace said. I thought I had to be strong all the time and hide my own scars. But I learned that sharing them lightens the load. Bella glanced away, shoulders slumping slightly, and in that fleeting moment, Grace dared to hope. It's okay to not be okay, Bella. That doesn't define you. But what does define you is how you decide to move forward. The garden felt alive, the energy shifting as more neighbors drifted closer, drawn by the invisible thread of their conversation. Grace sensed their eyes on them, a mixture of curiosity and concern. Is this how it ends for you? Always on the outside looking in? Grace pressed, her voice softer now, filled with understanding. You deserve to find your place, wherever that may be. Bella took a shaky breath, her facade wavering like the flames dancing in the night. Just behind her, the flickering light from the bonfire adding a glow to the contours of her face. You say that, but deep inside, I don't know if I can even trust you or anyone. The weight of those words hung in the air, and Grace's chest tightened. She placed a steady hand over her heart. Trust takes time. But I'm willing to wait. If you are. A moment passed, both women enveloped in their thoughts. It was a fragile pause, the kind that suggested something monumental was about to break. Grace felt as if the world was holding its breath. Finally, Bella lifted her gaze, conflict swirling within her. What if I can't change? What if I don't want to? The shadows of doubt haunted her expression, but there was something different about it, less rigid, more open. Tears are just another form of strength, Grace said, feeling the warmth of sincerity. But you have to decide. Are you willing to step into the light? Before Bella could respond, Lily and Noah bounded toward them, holding glass jars filled with glowing fireflies. Look, Mommy! They're so pretty! Lily beamed, the innocence of childhood radiating like a beacon of hope. Grace smiled, momentarily distracted by the children's joy, before returning her gaze to Bella. These kids, they see beauty in everything. You can, too. In that instant, their eyes locked, the connection amplifying between them like a current of electricity. I'll think about it, Bella murmured, the words almost fragile, as if testing the waters. As the laughter of the children filled the air, and the night deepened around them, Grace felt both relieved and apprehensive. They hadn't solved anything yet, but something had shifted. The first crack in Bella's armor, a chance for understanding. Let us take this journey together, Grace offered quietly, her heart wide open, hoping for more than just a smile. But even as she spoke, the shadows still lurked just beyond the warm glow of the fire. What lay ahead? Would Bella take that step into the light, or retreat back into her darkness? The night held its breath, and Grace's heart danced on the edge of possibility. The air hung thick, a delicate tension lingering between them. Bella's eyes shimmered with something unspoken, a battle that raged just beneath the surface. Grace could feel her heart racing, the weight of the moment pressing on her. What would happen if Bella decided to let go? Just then, Lily's laughter rang out again, pure and unguarded. The little girl twirled in circles, her jar of fireflies glowing in the darkness. Noah joined in, spinning alongside her, their joy radiant against the backdrop of uncertainty. Grace couldn't help but smile at them, but the warmth in her chest was quickly swallowed by the chill of Bella's silence. You're lucky, you know, Bella said quietly, her voice just above a whisper. Those kids, they don't understand the world we live in. Grace nodded, her smile fading. They don't. But perhaps they could teach us something. They see magic in the ordinary. Bella's gaze flickered over to the kids, a flash of something in her eyes, nostalgia, maybe? There was a time I believed in magic too before the shadows took over. Grace felt her heart tighten. Beneath Bella's icy exterior was a flood of pain, memories threatening to bubble to the surface. What happened? She asked gently, eager to break through the barriers. Bella flinched, but didn't pull away. Life, she said, her voice strained. Life happened. It always does. The flicker of hope dimmed, yet Grace's resolve only grew stronger. But you're here. You're still fighting, Bella. You've survived things I can't even imagine. That's strength. And yet, Bella continued, bitterness lacing her words, I don't know what I'm fighting for anymore. Sometimes I wish I could just disappear, slip into the shadows where it feels safer. Grace's heart ached for her. But the shadows can't promise happiness, Bella. You know that deep down. You deserve to find light again, trust again even if it's hard. Just then, Noah rushed over, breaking the tension with innocent excitement. Mommy, look! He said, holding out a firefly nestled in his tiny palm. This one landed on me. It's friendly. Bella's defenses wavered. Slowly, she reached out, her fingers brushing against her son's palm, and for an instant, Grace saw a flicker of hope in her eyes. It's beautiful, Bella said, her voice softening. The best things can be so fragile, Grace added gently. But they shine the brightest when we let them. Just like you. Bella's breath hitched, and Grace could almost see the gears turning in her mind. I don't know how to start, she admitted finally, her voice breaking slightly. Start with one step, Grace urged. Just one. You and me, together. A heavy silence fell, but this time it felt different, less like an end and more like a beginning. Bella looked at her, searching for something in Grace's eyes. Okay, she said, her voice barely a whisper. I'll try. But don't expect miracles overnight. Not a miracle, Grace smiled, just a step. We can take our time. The bond between them seemed to solidify, a strand weaving them closer. The glow of the fireflies illuminated their faces, hinting at the possibility of something beautiful emerging from the darkness. Just then, a distant rumble of thunder echoed, and the first raindrop plopped onto the grass nearby. Grace's heartbeat quickened. Let us not get caught in the rain, she said, a playful glint in her eye. How about we head inside? We can talk more, maybe even share stories. Bella hesitated, glancing back toward the shadows that had defined her for so long. But then her gaze shifted back to Grace, and for the first time, there was a trace of determination in her posture. Okay. Let us go inside. Hand in hand they turned toward the house, the laughter of the children fading into the distance. But even as they moved forward, Bella glanced back one last time, her past still lurking, yet a flicker of hope kindling within her. What would they uncover inside? Would Bella discover the strength she believed she had lost? The storm that loomed overhead mirrored the turmoil within, and Grace could feel the possibility of change brewing. As they stepped inside, the comforting warmth enveloped them, contrasting sharply with the cool night air. The sound of rain began to patter against the windows like a gentle drum, adding a soothing rhythm to the tension that still hung between them. Grace led Bella into the cozy living room, where a flickering fire crackled, casting dancing shadows along the walls. Let us sit by the fire, Grace suggested, her voice inviting. Bella nodded, hesitating only for a moment before settling onto the plush couch. Grace took a seat beside her, the warmth radiating from the flames wrapping around them like a soft blanket. Noah and Lily soon joined, their laughter like music filling the space as they settled with their firefly jar, eyes sparkling with excitement. Mommy, can we let them go? Noah asked, his innocence pulling at Bella's heart. Bella looked at her son, her heart swelling with a mix of love and apprehension. Maybe later, she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt the flood of emotions rising again, but this time, somehow, it felt different. The weight of her emotions no longer threatened to drag her under. There was a glimmer of hope fighting through. Do you remember how we used to release butterflies? Grace asked Noah, her expression encouraging. It's beautiful to watch them fly free, just like you can with those fireflies. Lily chimed in, clapping her hands. I want to see them dance in the dark. That's the magic of freedom, Grace smiled. She turned her gaze to Bella, who sat lost in thought. Maybe you could find a way to feel that freedom, too. Bella swiped at a tear that escaped her eye, wondering if it was truly possible to reclaim the part of herself that felt so long ago. I can't just let everything go like that, Grace. What if it hurts? What if I get left in the shadows again? Grace leaned closer, her tone steady and sincere. You're not alone in this, Bella. Together, we can find a way through the darkness. Just like the kids make magic out of the ordinary, maybe you can start small too. A little at a time. The thought washed over Bella, momentarily soothing her anxieties. She recalled snippets of joy from her past, memories of laughter and carefree days. But did she still have that girl inside? Could she ever truly feel that way again? Noah reached over, pulling gently at his mother's hand. Mommy, if we let them go, they'll be really, really happy. And then we'd be happy too, right? His words were simple, yet they struck a chord deep within her. Bella swallowed hard, biting back the wave of emotions. You're right, sweetie. Happiness comes from letting go sometimes. Again, Grace's eyes sparkled as she embedded the truth within her words. Exactly. It's not about forgetting, but rather about accepting and moving forward. We can create new traditions, new memories. One step at a time. Bella took a deep breath, feeling the panic begin to ease slightly. Could she do this? Start fresh and embrace new beginnings, even if they were shrouded in fear? It felt daunting, yet the prospect of change was also thrilling. Sweat began to form on her brow as the thoughts swirled. She could feel Grace's hand moving to rest on her shoulder, the warmth reassuring. This stupor of despair felt ancient, but something was stirring inside, breaking free from the chains of doubt. No more hiding, Bella whispered, her voice shaky but determined. Maybe I could try to let something go. Grace beamed, her eyes shining with encouragement. Yes. Just think of what could change. You'd be opening doors to a new world. The rain continued to fall outside, a steady reminder of the storm that had brought them to this point. But here, in this moment, with the warmth of their little family encircling them, Bella felt the tiniest flicker of conviction ignite in her chest. But just as hope began to bloom, a loud crack of thunder broke through the moment, shaking the walls. The little ones screamed with surprise, their tiny hands scrambling for comfort. Bella's heart raced again, but this time it was different. The storm outside was mirroring her own inner turmoil, but she had a choice: she could face it or let it wash over her. As the thunder rolled, Bella took a deep breath. Let us go outside, she announced suddenly, surprising herself with her own boldness. Let us see the fireflies dance in the rain. Grace's eyes widened, and for a moment, everything felt poised on the brink of something monumental. What awaited them in the rain? Would it be a moment of light, or would it reveal darker shadows lurking the edges of Bella's heart? As Grace stepped outside, the rain greeted her like an old friend, each drop refreshing and cool against her skin. The storm had transformed the garden into a magical wonderland, the air alive with energy. Lily and Noah giggled, their laughter blending with the sound of the raindrops. Grace felt a spark of exhilaration surge within her. Come on, Bella! Let us watch the fireflies, she called over the gentle thrumming of the rain. Bella stood at the threshold, an uncertainty flickering in her gaze. The tumultuous dance of emotions swirled inside her, fear and hope battling for dominance. But as she saw Noah and Lily leap joyfully into the puddles, a warmth began to bloom in her chest, melting the rigid shell she had built around herself. I can do this, she whispered as if trying to convince herself. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, joining Grace and the children in the rain. The droplets soaked her clothes, glistening under the moonlight, but Bella hardly noticed. It felt freeing, exhilarating. The laughter of the children buoyed her spirit, lifting her thoughts above the noise of doubt. Together they ran through the garden, the fireflies flitting around them like tiny stars descended to earth. Look, Mommy! They love the rain! Lily's eyes sparkled with delight. Yes. Noah agreed, his excitement infectious. It's like they're dancing. Bella watched their joy, and for the first time, she dared to feel something shift inside her. Maybe I can dance too, she thought quietly. As they twirled and laughed, Bella found herself immersed in the moment. Each step in the puddles felt like shedding a layer of her old self. She joined their laughter, allowing the lightness to seep into her heart, a revelation that even amid the storm, beauty could thrive. Unrestrained and alive, she reached out her hands. The fireflies gathered closer, illuminating her face with a soft glow. See, Bella? Grace said softly, noticing the change wash over her. Even in the rain, we can find joy. Bella met Grace's gaze, and in that moment she felt a connection bloom more profound than she could have anticipated. "Thank you for inviting me to step into the light," she said, her voice breaking slightly. The night deepened, but the darkness felt less threatening, transformed by laughter and shared hopes. And as they danced through the rain, Bella sensed an undeniable strength unfurling within her. It was a strength she had long forgotten, a fragment of herself waiting to rise. "Let us promise to keep the joy alive," Grace proposed, her voice barely above the sound of the rain. "Promise," Bella said, a smile breaking through as the children whirled around them, each twirl igniting her spirit further. The shadows that once loomed so large over her heart began to fade, replaced by a burgeoning sense of belonging. "Mommy, let us catch the fireflies together," Noah shouted, reaching for Bella's hand. "All right," she said, and for the first time in a long time, she felt ready to embrace the chaos, the unpredictability, and the beauty life offered. As they scuttled around the garden, hand in hand, each firefly they caught felt like a treasure, a symbol of strength, love, and renewal. With every flicker illuminating the night, Bella understood she was no longer alone in her battles. Here, in this tiny garden amid her children and Grace, she started to weave a new story, one filled with resilience and hope. That night, under the rain-soaked sky, Bella found the peace she hadn't realized she longed for. The whispers of doubt transformed into the melody of laughter and warmth. They all stood together, united by a promise, to keep growing, to nurture their garden of connections, and to never shy away from the storms, because every storm brought a chance for renewal. And there, in the heart of Maple Grove, as the heavens poured out their tears, Bella took her first step toward freedom, entangled in arms of acceptance, love, and the exhilaration that comes with transformation. As the last firefly whirred away into the night, Grace and Bella exchanged a knowing glance. Hearts aligned. The world was beautiful, chaotic, uncertain, a kaleidoscope of past pains and present joys, yet they understood one thing deeply: the journey had just begun, and they were ready to face it together. Together now. This story has reached its conclusion, but your journey doesn't have to end here. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive adventures we'll share together. Leave a like now if this journey touched your heart and helped you feel connected. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation, because your voice matters. And for the love of all that's inspiring, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who could use a little light in their lives. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now, because only true fans understand the importance of holding each other through this exciting journey. Don't wait not even one more second to share.